Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Alexis Faye Yoga. I'm so very glad that you've decided to join me today. Now, today's practice, we're doing a little bit with shoulder mobility, and we'll do a little bit of a flow to go along with it. Now, you will need a block for this practice. Bonus points if you can match it to your outfit, but that's not necessary for the flow. Go ahead and roll out your mat. Grab your prop. We'll hop right into it after you hit that like and subscribe button down below. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another week of yoga. Sending that right foot back. Now we're going to start with warming up our shoulders. We can set our block off to the side for a little while. As we take the feet out wider than the width of our mat, we'll reach the arms out nice and wide to our sides. With our exhale, we'll curl into center, wrapping the fingers around the shoulder blades, so walking them into the mid-spine as close as we can. And we'll duck chin to chest. With our in-breath, we'll reach the arms out nice and wide, splay the fingertips, lift the chest. And we'll move back and forth for a few breaths, finding some standing cat-cow pose. Good. The next time that our arms are out wide to our sides, we're going to twist open in one direction and then move through center to the other, moving with our happy elephants, letting the arms sway out to our sides. We'll let the arms and the body run out of momentum, coming to rest by our sides. Taking feet underneath of the hips with an in-breath. We'll circle the arms out and up to the ceiling, reaching nice and tall. We can add a baby back bend in here if we'd like, or we can keep the chest and eyes forward as we reach and spread the fingertips out wide. With our exhale, we'll lower the hands down and take them out in front of the body, spreading those fingertips out. And then we'll curl into fists and reach them out wide and curl into tight fists. And we'll repeat this a few times. Maybe starting to feel the wrists or up the middle or bottom of the forearms. And then we'll let the arms down and wiggle out a little bit more. Now, grabbing for that block, we'll reach both arms up to the ceiling and press the block in between the hands. We're going to press into the block as hard as we can and hold as we continue to breathe. One more breath. Exhale, let the arms down, wiggle them out. Good job. With an in-breath, we'll reach the arms up again. And the hand that does not have the block, we'll drop it down The hand with the block will drop behind the back, and the other hand will bring up to meet the block. So we are finding our cow head pose, and we're going to swap hands so the bottom hand now has the block. Switch the arms. Reach the opposite arm up with the block. Drop it down the back. Reach the other hand. Grab the block. And swap sides. We'll continue back and forth. Now take your time. It'll feel awkward grabbing the block behind the body, so get used to the movement. Now, if you have a heavier block, it may be a little harder on you to grab with that bottom hand, just because the added weight on the fingers. So if you have the option between a heavier and a lighter block, maybe start out with the lighter block. And we'll continue to pass back and forth. One side will probably be a lot easier than the other. That's okay. All right, we'll drop the arms down again. And with an inhale, reach the block up overhead. Take the palms on either side, and we'll press into the block for 3 breaths. Big breaths in, even bigger breaths back out. Good. Exhale, we'll drop the hands away. Wiggle the shoulders, wiggle the legs. Now we're going to plant the block on top of our palm, spreading the fingertips out nice and wide. And we'll bring the block into the body as we sweep the elbow out to our side. Press the block back behind the body, and we'll gently lift up. Bring it back in and around. And then we'll find more of a circle as we take the block back and up. So now fingertips are pointed out in front of the body, and the palm is upside down, or palm is up towards the ceiling. We'll reverse. Circle it around into the body, back behind, and back and around. Again, having a lighter block may be useful, may be appreciated with this movement. But having a heavier block is fine too. We'll continue circling it around. Out, back behind. Out in front. Over the elbow to the top of the mat. We'll do this a couple more times on this side. Good, and we'll bring the block down. And we'll switch out sides, palm up, block on top. Elbow goes around as the block comes through the body, back behind. Bring it back out in front of the body. Circle it around the elbow, up towards the top of the mat. Fingertips point away, palm is up. And we'll reverse. Flip the palm. Bring the elbow out as the block comes in, back behind, gentle lift, and around again. If you drop your block, that's fine. Do a few more on this side. And bring the block back out in front. We'll set it down towards the top of our mat for a little while as we wiggle out some more. Now with an in breath, we'll reach tall to the ceiling. Exhale, sweep the arms out to the sides. We'll swan dive the chest forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Pausing here, allowing the arms to droop from the shoulders. Dropping the very top of the head down to the floor. And we'll allow the upper body to be heavy as we find a sway side to side, or a little bouncing. Now letting the arms be heavy and the top of the head to droop down. We'll start at the lowest point of our spine and roll one vertebrae up past the next, ragdolling back up to standing. We'll do some shoulder rolls at the top, bringing the shoulders up to the ears, back and down the spine and around. Good. Making our way to the top of our mat. With an in-breath, we'll reach up tall. Exhale, hinging from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We'll drop the hands down, putting as much of a bend to the knees as we need. And we'll lift the left leg and press it back behind, slowly lowering the left toes all the way down to the mat. Full breath in, even larger breath back out. We'll grab for the block beside us, and with our in-breath, lift up to a crescent lunge, pressing the block between the hands. Now we do not have to press into the block like we did before. We can just hold it here. Or if you enjoyed that and want to add that added strength into this pose, you can really press into the block. Now we'll extend our right leg towards straight, drop the back heel down, turn the hips back up towards the top of the mat. They do not have to be all the way up, but we'll reach up with the block as we slowly hinge forward, continuing to reach that block, the fingertips out in front. And finding our pyramid pose. From here, we can plant the block down and drop the hands on top. Or we can use the leg. Grabbing for the block between the hands. Again, we'll reverse. Now, if your knee is already talking to you, add the bend back in first. Inhale, lifting back up, bringing the arms overhead with us. We'll move back to that crescent lunge by lifting onto the tippy toes, and then settling into the hips, bending the front knee. With our inhale, we'll reach up just a little taller on our back toes. We'll pivot the foot around and find our warrior two. Our block is in our right hand and up towards the top of our mat. Holding here for a few breaths. Now we'll lengthen out through our front leg again. Hips will go back behind so we can reach that block out in front of the body as we slowly lower it down to the floor for our triangle or side angle pose. Now keep in mind there are multiple different sides of this block that'll have different heights. So find a side that feels right to you and your body today. Or you can move the block out entirely and press the hand into the floor. We'll find that block again and reverse. Inhale, lift us back up. Bend into the right knee, warrior two. Now reach the right hand up over top of the shoulder. Our left will swoop back and around behind. We'll swap out which hand has the block. Now, if this was a little hard before, we can do our other option and place the block on top and rotate the elbow out. Send the block back, and we can loop around and switch hands that way. So either way, we'll swap which hand has the block. Back to our warrior two. Block is in our left towards the back of our mat. And we'll lift onto the tippy toes of our back foot as we droop the hand down towards the floor. Crescent lunge. And we'll hinge forward, setting that block beside our right foot as we reach the right hand up to the ceiling and find a gentle twist. Untwisting the chest, we'll drop the right hand down beside the foot. We'll scoot the block out of our way and set the left hand down beside the foot. We'll pop forward onto our right, pick up the left, and then bring the left leg in and down. With our inhale, we'll halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Reverse swan dive the arms. Reach them out to the side and up to the ceiling as we make our way to standing. Exhale, reverse. Taking arms out wide, swan diving the chest forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Putting as much of a bend to the knees as we need to plant the hands down. This time we'll send the right leg up and back behind. And very slowly, let the right toes make contact with the floor. Full breath in. Even larger breath back out. Grab for that block. With our inhale, we'll circle the arms up overhead. Crescent lunge. Planting the hands on the either side of the block. We'll press into the block. As much or as little as you'd like. And we'll lengthen out through the left leg. Drop the right heel down. Bring the chest towards the top of the mat. We'll reach forward with the block as we send the hips back behind. Hinging. And making our way to our pyramid pose. Again, we can press our hands into the block or into another side of the block. And we'll reverse. Keep in mind, we can add the bend into the front knee as we lift up, crescent lunge. And then we'll lift a little bit taller on our tippy toes of our right foot as we pivot the right foot around. The block is in our left hand out towards the top of our mat for our warrior two. We'll extend out through the left leg again. Hips will go back behind. Reach the block forward as we hinge. And drop the block down on the inside of our left foot. Reach the right arm tall. With our inhale, we'll float back up. Option to add the bend into the knee first or float up this way. And then make our way back to our neutral warrior two. Now our front hand, our left hand, we'll take up to the ceiling. Our right hand will drop down and make its way up our spine. We'll lower the top hand and the block down. Switch hands and bring it around. We have that other option to bring the block in towards the body and back behind to grab for the block with the other arm. Lift or rotate onto the tippy toes as we drop the block down towards the floor. Take it up in front of us for our crescent lunge. With our exhale, we'll bring the block down on the inside of our left foot and reach the left hand up towards the ceiling. Gentle twist. Exhale, we'll bring the left hand back and around. Set it down beside the foot. Scoot the block out of our way and drop the other hand down. We'll shift forward and bring us up onto our left leg. Extend to the right, back behind. And then we'll bring the right leg down beside the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive the arms, taking them out to our sides. We'll reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, we'll bring hands to heart center. Now wiggling out a little bit more. And we'll do a puppy pose next. So I like to do a puppy pose on the wall, or we can use our block for our puppy pose. I'll show you both variations. If we're doing our wall, we'll plant the hands out in front of the body, just below shoulder height. We'll take the legs even further apart than the shoulders, and we'll soften the chest between. Now if we're doing puppy pose on the floor, we'll grab for our block, make our way to our tabletop pose, and plant the block out in front of the fingertips quite a ways. We'll press both hands into the block and drop the chest between down to the floor. Now, whichever variation you go with, you'll feel a beautiful stretch across the chest, across the abdomen, and the shoulders. Pressing into the hands to help us lift the chest back up and out between the arms. If we're standing, we'll move to our mountain pose. And if we're on our hands and knees, we'll sit back on the heels. Lifting the shoulders up to the ears, we'll work them back and down the spine. And close the eyes as we take a few deep breaths in and back out, giving our body a moment to absorb all of that wonderful work that we just did. And to bring the breath and to bring the system to a slower state. Calming the body and the mind and the breath down before we move on with our day. Now we can stay here for as long as we would like. You can pause the video now if you would like to sit here a little longer. But thank you so very much for joining me today. It is always such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love, go in light, go in peace, and go in joy.